Here's an important aspect many people overlooked in this conversation, but it was covered by Politico. Take a look at this. Quote, Reid initiated the program, which ultimately spent more than $20 million a year through an earmark after he was persuaded in part by aerospace titan and hotel chain founder Bob Bigelow, a friend and fellow Nevadan who owns Bigelow Aerospace, a space technology company and government contractor. Bigelow, whose company received some of these research contracts, was also a regular contributor to Reid's re-election campaigns. Campaign finance records show at least $10,000 from '98 to 2008. So Reid was giving the money, but also getting some money from Bigelow throughout the years. The senator, I've listened to him, I've read him. He probably does have a genuine interest in UFOs, but this is also sort of a classic double back scratching scenario. Mutual interests and money make the world and politics go round. So how does this go from concept to a line item in the budget? Bryan Bender wrote this article about Reid's UFO program for Politico. I talked with him about the process of getting it funded, and we focused specifically on black money. Bryan, based on your reporting for Politico on Harry Reid and his preferred program, he had a pretty easy time of getting this funding in the legislation, it seems.
He did, and I think the main reason why it was so easy to get this program funded at the Pentagon is that Harry Reid was the majority leader of the Senate at the time. But maybe even more importantly, he enlisted the help of two very powerful senators, then Senator Ted Stevens and then Senator Daniel Inouye. They got on board and they believed that this was something the Pentagon should be studying. So they quietly but forcefully got this money put into the budget.
To make sure it doesn't grab everyone's attention right away, is that a matter of kind of couching it under another program, or is it giving it a name that's so bland that nobody looks into it? What's the trick here?
So the Defense Department, the intelligence agencies, they get a budget every year, much of which is open source, if you will. The public knows at least some of the details, how much money, what are the programs that are being funded. But then there's also the black budget, which is a classified portion of the budget that could hide some of the more secret programs. If the Air Force is building a secret fighter plane, they don't want the public to know that. They don't want other countries to know that. The other way to hide this stuff, if you will, if it's not in the black budget, is to just give it a bland name.
How difficult is it to get information on one of these programs, whether it's a bland name or in the black budget, in real time?
It's very hard to decipher some of these programs that are kind of behind the curtain, either because they're secret or because the Pentagon goes out of its way to shield them. In this case, it was not very easy to uncover this. And really, quite frankly, it only came out because there were people involved in this effort who felt compelled to go public.
How many of these programs do you think are happening currently that in 10 years we might find out are being funded?
I mean, the Pentagon, if you add it all up, gets about $700 billion a year. And unless you have an army of people whose job is to pour through every line item, track the public record, develop sources on the inside to try and shed more light on what these programs actually do, how much money they're getting, you're never really going to be able to capture all of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that fly by.
Realistically, and tell it to me straight, if an everyday citizen wants to know right now, where are these dark projects happening? How are they being funded with my tax money? Can they find out, or can only these, let's say, 20 people on Capitol Hill know?
I mean, it's very difficult for the public at large to know where this secret money is being spent, how it's being spent, who's directing it. I mean, there's a couple of avenues. Obviously, through the Freedom of Information Act, average citizens could appeal to government agencies and say, I want more data, I want more transparency on what you're doing. They're likely to get a, thanks for writing in, but we can't give you anything. And, these programs are classified under a whole series of laws that cover classification and national security secrets. So, it's very difficult to just say, hey, give me the goods, give me the secrets.